What's up YouTube, this is Mathos97 and welcome back to my Pokémon Colosseum adventure. Last time I got over being super confused. We tracked down, well, not really tracked down, more like infiltrated the nefarious cipher building here in Pyrite. And now we are looking to tear it down just like we did to that whole Team Snag'em hideout. We're looking to burn it to the ground. So, Espeon, go ahead, confuse that Phanpy. And Slugma, I'm going to call. Because I would really like to be out of... Oh, and I did see that did drop... Here is where I was thinking that calling... In Gale of Darkness, I thought that calling would help deplete the Shadow Purification meter. But I don't believe that it did. In this game, it was actually the game that does that, so I got it wrong. I was thinking the wrong game, but now calling them actually does something. So I guess them going into reverse mode is also supposed to like help prompt you to call them to get them out of it. Oh, now I have Flamethrower. I just unlocked it. That is awesome. So I'm going to use it, and that should take out Phanpy. Ah, Trapinch, hanging on. Confusion, not enough. But Phanpy? Oh, it's gonna use Odosloop, that's fine. That's a nothing attack. This, on the other hand, is going to burn you to a crisp. Burn you alive! And not even the ashes will remain. Espeon level 33. Yeah, boy! Umbreon and Espeon up to the same level. Oh my god! Critical hit! No! Oh, now they're both caught in a sand tomb. That's ugly. But Espeon has got this. One return to the face and it's done. Boom! Goodbye! Sayonara! Auf Wiedersehen! Etc. We defeated Chaser Kai. This didn't happen? Okay, we'll pretend it never happened. No matter what, this elevator's off limits. Hey, okay, if I'm trying to pretend that this didn't happen, then you can't be standing here. Oh, but the door's locked, so that doesn't really affect... Let's use the EN file. The EIN file. No, okay. All you had to tell me was that it wouldn't work. You didn't have to punish me by making me read it again. Okay. Vending machine. Oh, but it's out of order. No, I wanted healing items. Oh, speaking of items, I need to go back and buy more Great Balls, so I shall return in due time. Now that I've thought about it a little more, another thing that I really enjoy about these games as opposed to the typical Pokemon, the main series games, is the creative environments. Usually, in Pokemon games, you get, variations of different cities or towns. You might get, like, oh, nope, that one's also out of order. You might also get, like, a woods area, or, like, a cave, a cavern, that sort of thing. But Pokémon Colosseum and Gale of Darkness, they give you different sort of variations. So you'll get, like, the Outskirts Stand, for example. It is nothing like the typical Pokemon environment. It's such a small little area. It's just a little train that was, like, converted into a little shop, bar-type area. And then you have, like, we had that, another small area. We had the little construction lot. Oh, I didn't heal. I thought that I'd healed. Whoops. I just think that it's... The variations of environments, or the various different environments, really help to just make this game feel even more unique. Because it's a chance to kind of experiment a little bit differently, or experiment a little bit more. You can have a bit more creative reign. You're not limited to the typical Pokemon setup. I mean, there's so many different environments. Basically, every environment in this game is unique, and it's I won't say that all of them go against the typical Pokemon formula, but even when you have something like a Phoenix City, it's not... It's like not... like Phoenix City, it is a city, and in that regard, it does sort of follow the typical conventions of a city, but even just the way that it's structured, because this also comes down to having access to, well, no, because newer Pokemon games have more of a 3D playing field, so you see something like X and Y really was able to experiment with that. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire could do that as well, and I imagine that Sun and Moon does the same. At the time of recording this, November 26th, I have yet to play Sun and Moon, although I have it. I'm actually looking right at it. I'm holding it in my hand, the box that I got it in, but I have yet to play it. But I imagine that there's going to be some cool environments in that because it has, you know, it has better capabilities now that it's on a more 3D playing field, which is something that having this game be on the GameCube, it was cool because you had more access. You could have these sort of 3D sprites. You could have 3D environments. It gave you a little more room for creativity as well. So Phoenix City, even just, if it were, I mean, I guess it just feels different than a typical Pokemon City because of it being the whole 3D setup. But even then you have like water fountains involved, and it's just cool environments all around, even if they do kind of fall into the typical Pokemon trappings of being a town or a city. Pyrite Town could also kind of go with that as well, but even just like the architecture of Pyrite Town looks different because all the buildings look really decayed, and I also think it helps with the music that it has a theme that's like really distinct to Pyrite Town. It really plays into the whole, this city is kind of like everything is really just crappy living conditions. You're basically not really in the ghetto, but everything is like really broken down. It just feels like this impoverished sort of place, even though it isn't really, because you've got the Colosseum going, you have like a windmill and stuff. There are things still keeping it involved, but it really is the place where like all the ruffians and the hooligans would be raised. That's where they would grow up. I don't know, it just has a really distinct feel to it. So while even though they might kind of fall into the typical conventions, they feel unique, and that's really what's important. Whereas some of the main series games, sometimes the different cities can feel, I mean, they're different, but they don't feel incredibly unique. Whereas each, like, if you had to describe the layout of, I'm trying to think of, see, because they don't pop to mind, because certain ones that I'm thinking of are the more distinctive ones, but if you have something like, say, compare Pallet Town to, what is it, Newbark Town? Is Newbark Town Johto? I'm thinking of the one in, honestly, it could be the same with, not Petalburg, but, I can't remember the town, but the first one in Hoenn. Really the first town in any, I think they're kind of meant to be incredibly similar. But even if you want to compare something like, let's say Saffron City. It's a big metropolis sort of area. That's where all these giant building size skyscrapers are. And compare that to, say, thinking of the one from Diamond and Pearl, but I can't remember the name of it. I don't know. They're distinct in their own different ways, but they don't quite, like, it's not that they don't feel distinct, but they don't feel as fleshed out, as memorable as the environments in this. I don't really know how to describe it. Regardless, I'll just leave that there because I'm kind of losing focus on it. Instead, I need to focus on kicking ass and taking names, as Wes does. Right now, we've already taken out Electrike thanks to a perfectly placed critical hit. So I'm gonna go for the Swift Bite combo, and that should be able to take this out. I suppose I should have just used Confusion and knocked it out right there, but that's okay. Voltorb is content with just charging. That's fine by me. Bite it in the face. It's done. Over with. Game, set, match. Oh, but that stupid static. Ah. I keep forgetting that bite will trigger those because I keep thinking it's a special attack, so it's not like that's gonna happen. And it is a special attack. Actually, now that I think about it, this is completely off topic. But the reason why this is so focused on second generation Pokemon, I believe this game was released in 2004, which that might have only been in America that the Hoenn games were released. But that would explain why it focuses so heavily on Generation 2 Pokemon, because maybe they thought that because they were going to do this is really the first game of its kind on the consoles, like the GameCube, those, like, not handheld consoles, but the actual consoles. As opposed to something like a Pokemon Stadium that preceded it, where it was more just sort of a tournament battle-like simulator, whereas this is a full-fledged game. Maybe they felt as though bringing in more so like, it does have a good mix, but there are more so, I'd have to say, second generation Pokemon in here than there are third generation. I mean, just taking a look at my team right now, I have the majority of the Pokemon that I have are second generation. You look at Espeon, Umbreon, Quagsire, Slugma. No, wait, Slugma's third generation. Noctowl. And then looking at my opponent, there's also a Wooper on the field. Maybe they just felt like, I mean, I do like the interspersing of the generations. That also really helps to make it feel distinct, because every generation has their own set. They might have a couple of other ones thrown in, like just a few outliers. Like X and Y, they have a couple of Kanto Pokemon in there, which is, I think that was kind of in there to sort of throw back to the nostalgia. But they do have a couple of, like, outliers in there. Third generation has, like, Skarmory, which is why I always thought Skarmory was third generation, because you could always find it in that one area that the name is escaping me, where it's the right by the volcano, but I can't remember the route name. But you can always find Skarmory there. Sometimes I do get a little confused when it comes to second and third generation Pokemon. Like, if you told me that Misdreavus was second generation, actually, no, not Misdreavus, but there's another Pokemon. There are a few others that I think are third generation, but they are second generation. Skarmory is the main one that comes to mind. But you could tell me that, like, oh, something like Misdreavus is second generation, and I might be a little confused. I might possibly think that you're right, even if it is a third generation Pokemon, just because there are a few that kind of carried over. And I guess this game more so, I mean, it does have aspects of that as well, but if you bring back more so Pokemon that people know, like a Quagsire, Noctowl, Espeon, Umbreon, these second generation Pokemon, you bring them in, people know what they are, and maybe they'll be more inclined to buy the game. And then plus, it has the new Pokemon in it from the third generation, so that's also cool. That gives you another chance to sort of get introduced to them. And maybe because it was the first game as like a console game, they tried to implement that just to try and, I don't know, try to help boost sales a little bit, maybe? Maybe I'm just making stuff up as I go along. Maybe this is just my own headcanon as to what people could have been thinking at the time. Actually, I should be confusing that Doduo. I was about to say Dodrio. We're not quite that far yet. Oh, one hit, wow. Oh, that jerk just confused me. Let's hit it with a surf. No, that barely did anything. That barely did anything. That's disappointing. Do I even really want to keep Quagsire out here? That was an incredibly underwhelming turn. Oh, and Espeon's confused. Oh. Oh no. Well, this is gonna be a nightmare if this keeps up. I guess I'll have to use Quagsire's turn to heal Espeon, so that Espeon can attack, because Espeon seems like the only one capable of doing anything on this team right now. I just want to purify my guys. I just want to have other options than Espeon and Umbreon. Umbreon is not a big attacker. It really hasn't been helping me very much. I just gotta burn this full heal so that Espeon cannot be confused. And hopefully this will get rid of Ladybug. One hit. Confusion. Goodbye. Oh, so close to level 34. That just really goes to show how much I've been relying on Espeon. Part of this is because of the whole two episodes ago where I had the whole fiasco of me not knowing how to progress the game. So that definitely did help Espeon gain more experience, because I went back and I fought those trainers time after time to catch their shadow Pokemon. But if I can even English, other than that, just Espeon's attack power has kept it at the forefront, because none of my other Pokemon can level up for the time being, because they're all shadows. And Espeon is just a powerhouse in terms of that special attack. Umbreon, not so much. So it's just sort of been the Espeon show. Right now, I guess I'm gonna give Umbreon a bit of a chance to shine. My Pokemon are solid troopers. Check them out. Hunter Tura with a Sfeel and a Snorunt. You know, if you had a Shadow Snorunt, I would totally use it. I used a Sfeel last time, so I wouldn't use that again. But a Shadow Snorunt, I'd rock that. I'd use a Glalie. As I'm gonna bite Sfeel. Guess I'm gonna try Surf again. I know Sfeel is gonna resist it, but if I focus on it with Bite, I should hopefully get there in due time. And work my way to that knockout. Icy Wind. A little underwhelming, I will admit, but it's not a Shadow, so I don't have to worry about catching it. And the only downside of that is that it lowers speed. Speed is kind of the only thing that I'm really working with here, which is kind of ironic, because all throughout Pokemon Gale of Darkness, I had speed, like, I did not have any fast Pokemon. I had Houndoom. Hey, thanks for healing me, bro. I really appreciate that. But the entire time, I had super slow Pokemon. And now all of a sudden, with Umbreon and Espeon, I'm going first for the majority of the time. It's just, it's good, it's nice to see that the tables have turned, even if it's only for this, this sort of opening stages of the game. So Quagsire, hit it with that Surf. Nice, one shot. Although I question why the first Surf did so little damage in the first place. I don't know what happened there, but hey, I'll take it. I'm not gonna complain. So admit it, my Pokemon are decent, huh? Even though they can't win. What is going on in here? Any hidden items? The shelves are lined with apparently difficult books. Unfortunately, I think it would be really cool. Well, rather I should rephrase how I'm going to say that. Unfortunately, these aren't really, like, there's nothing specific in there. I think it would be cool if these libraries could kind of expand on the lore of this, this universe a little bit. But I guess there really isn't a whole lot that you can delve into otherwise with this, because it's not like the other Pokemon games where they'll have sort of a deep backstory for like a certain character, or for a certain Pokemon, like a legendary Pokemon. This game doesn't quite have that, where they can dedicate like libraries to different aspects of the game. But I still think it'd be kind of cool if there was anything that they could expand on. But maybe this isn't the place to do it. Oh wait, it definitely wouldn't work in this game because this is the very beginning. Well, no, it would work, potentially, if you wanted to foreshadow something. I mean, the libraries could be a cool place to have it. But more so like Gale of Darkness, I guess, would be the place to have that. And Gale of Darkness does have its fair share of references to Colosseum. Okay, before I jump ahead, I think I'm gonna put Quagsire in the background for now. I'll give Slugma another chance. Another shot at the spotlight. My Pokemon can dance with elegance even in a dump like this. I see this guy, Hunter Toti, taking up after Mirror B. And I mean, why wouldn't you? Mirror B is like the greatest person in the history of the world. Ever. In anything. Definitely in Pokemon. It's not even a contest. You might have some competition outside of Pokemon, but within the confines of the Pokemon universe, definitely Mirror B is #1. I dare you to prove otherwise. Taken down Horsey with 1 bite. That's actually a bit surprising. But hey, I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna complain. Next is a Sandshrew, so I don't have Petal Dance. I guess it is at level 32. Although I question why it would go after Slugma. But hey, your funeral. I still don't know how I feel about this other flamethrower animation. Because in the other one, like this one, it's basically just shooting lava out of its face. In the other one, it's more like, it's not as intense. It's more like it's more like just wisps of flame rather than this giant beam of lava just shooting at you. I don't know, I like both, to be honest. I don't know if I really have a preference between the two. I really did like the other flamethrower animation, but that would be cool if they did ever expand on this game and they had something like Lava Plume, or not even Lava Plume, but like, because I was gonna say Lava Plume, but that has more like rocks involved with it, so I guess straight shot of like molten lava wouldn't really cut it. I don't know what else you could use that animation for. Let's go. I'm just basically trying to come up with all these different ways that this team should put together a remake, or not a remake, but like a sequel. Or if not a sequel, create a new universe like this. It's been a long time. It's been almost 10 years since Gale of Darkness was released. I think it would be really cool, especially for Pokemon 20 years of Pokemon, and to bring back a console game which is separate from the main series of Pokemon and do something similar to this. It doesn't have to be in the same universe, but if you could bring back Mirror B, that would get you extra cool points from me, and I think a lot of other people would agree. But if it's going to be in a different universe, just to get something similar to this again. Just a breath of fresh air into the Pokemon franchise. It's like what Mystery Dungeon was at a point, where it was something different, something unique. Mystery Dungeon, they still keep making those games, and I keep loving them. Super Mystery Dungeon was... oh, it was a really great game as well. I can't wait. If I could ever get this whole, if I could get this 3DS captured plan working out some point in the future, I would love to cover Super Mystery Dungeon. If I get a 3DS capture card, I'm definitely going to cover it, unless it breaks on me before then, before I ever make it that far. But fingers crossed, knock on wood, that won't happen if I can get one. I'm looking to get the best one that I can, which is why I am gonna have to wait for it a little bit, to wait until they're actually available. But I discussed this more in one of my Gale of Darkness videos, so maybe I'll put a link to it at the end of the video, if I remember. I know sometimes I can be pretty bad with putting links to things, but now with YouTube's new end card feature, I think I could remember to do it. Hopefully I'd remember as I'm editing this which episode that actually was, because that's also sometimes my issue, is that I vaguely reference a certain thing without actually knowing what that thing is as I'm editing it, so I can't really can't really link to it because I don't know what it is, because I've forgotten over time. How are these two looking? Oh, a lot of progress to make. Getting there. Noctowl's pretty close. I guess I'll give Mischievous, no, not if I'm about to face Mirror B. That's not gonna happen. Oh, so there's a cave over there, and oh, there is something here. Right, because this is where they were talking. Okay, and then this is the cave where I think the final showdown's gonna take place. Who are you? We just captured an intruder. Go inside that building and provide assistance. Oh, he doesn't even know that I'm... Okay, cool. He doesn't know that I'm the enemy. Awesome. But that's going to do it for this episode of Pokémon Colosseum. I hope that you enjoyed it. Be sure to stay tuned for the next one. We're going to be entering this room and probably taking on Mirror B. I don't know who else could be in there. But until next time, keep on YouTubing.